Hi, my name is Mrs. Brislin, and thank you for joining me today for our Polar Bears and Climate Change activity. Today we are going to focus on the behaviors of polar bears and learning about their habitat and their requirements and how they spend their day, their energy within their habitat, and how climate change has or is affecting them, and what ways that we can eliminate or reduce climate change issues. All right, so first we're going to start off with the student handout you can see right here. The directions, we'll start off with answering the focus question. So the question is, how does climate change affect polar bears and their habitat? So take a second right now and just go ahead and answer that. We are going to come back to this question at the end, and so feel free to scratch things out or write in pencil and erase it. We hope that you will change your answer to this question as you learn about polar bears. All right, so again, focus question is, how does climate change affect polar bears and their habitat? You can pause and take a little more time to answer that. I'm going to move on to the videos. So this lab, because it is digital, we have access to videos, and we're going to start off with polar bear adaptations, about 3 minutes and 10 seconds long. And then you'll watch Climate Change and Ice Loss, which is a TED Talk by a Arctic photographer. And he'll be talking about climate change and how it is affecting ice. He is talking about glacier ice, but clearly is affecting temperature and ice loss. So polar bears are reliant on sea ice. So just keep that in mind. All right, and polar bears and their sea ice is another one, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And then studying polar bears in captivity. Okay, so this is in a zoo setting, and why it's important that we study captive bears. All right, now we're going to go ahead and read the background information. Remember just to pause, take your time, look at the videos, and then come back to the background and read through the background information about polar bears. So this is a little more information, a little more in depth about what they're doing on sea ice and what's happening to their habitat and how they're needing to keep their cubs out of the water, what kind of adaptations they have to come up with in order to withstand the sea ice loss. All right, and then in this activity, we are going to answer the inquiry question, which is, what behaviors do polar bears spend most of their time participating in? So what do you think when you watch this polar bear on the webcam? What do you think is what you're going to see a lot of? Are they going to be sleeping a lot, eating a lot? What do you think they might be doing? Remember, we are going to be at the San Diego Zoo. So if you've ever been there, you know that they have water and they have elevation changes and grasses. And they even have snow that occurs pretty much all day long, as far as I know. All right, so let's answer that question. What behaviors do polar bears spend most of their time participating in? So let's see what we think, and then explain why you think that. Go ahead and pause. All right, so now we're going to I will be putting the video that I'm doing right now. I'll be putting this here, so it'll look a little bit different when you come back to this. But just so you know, an Ethogram, which is what we're going to be participating in here, we've already created one. An Ethogram is a catalog of typical species-specific behaviors. So I've gone through, and actually, this Ethogram is from the San Diego Zoo, and we'll go through their behavior. So what is common? So do they pace? Are they foraging? Are they investigating? Sleeping? What is their common behaviors? And then just so you know, the study of animals is called ethology. Okay. All right, so you're going to click on the webcam. But before you do that, I'd like you to print these data sheets. So we'll click on that and print. I would print probably a couple of them. And then we're going to come back here and we are going to put a link to our data sheet, and then we're going to create a pie chart today, and we will link that pie chart, or actually we're going to copy paste the pie chart into the document. So, and then when we're done with our observation, we're going to come back here and answer the individual questions. And then we are going to take a pledge. And the pledge is, what can we do to reduce climate change? So maybe as your investigation is occurring, maybe you can think about some ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint. All right, so let's go over to the Ethogram and data sheet. So here we are. This is the Ethogram. Ethogram, like I said, is a catalog of their common behaviors. So what we're going to be looking at today is pace, rest, processing food, explore, social, play, and other. Okay. There are codes for these. These, again, are from the San Diego Zoo. So if I am watching my polar bear and I see that it's walking or swimming in a fixed pattern with little to no variation, then I'm going to mark the pace column. So here I am. I'm going to give it a check mark and mark that they were pacing. Okay. So let's read through this ethogram. So rest is considered mostly inactive with head down or raised. Processing food is actively acquiring and or ingesting food items. They do like to eat a lot of carrots, so you're probably going to see some of that. Explore, investigating the environment, can include using paws, nose, can be standing or in motion. And then social is actively engaged in the same species. This includes rest if within one body length of another animal. Play, physically or visually engaged with an object such or self, or conspecific, and conspecific means same species, in a non-serious manner. And then other is any behavior that is not listed. So in case we see something different, we would check the other box. All right, so polar bear webcam observation, you are going to put a check mark in the box that corresponds with that behavior during that scan interval time. Okay. So just to cover ourselves, because we are doing a webcam observation, we are not at the zoo. If the bear is out of view, so maybe the webcam gets frozen or whatever it might be, you can go ahead and stop your observation. And then once the bear is back in view, you may go ahead and just start over again. So we are going to be doing 30-second interval scans. So I have my phone here and I have it on a timer of 30 seconds. So I'll just hit start every time I'm going to make my observation. So my interval 1 here would be 30 seconds. My interval 2 would be at 1 minute. Give or take, there's going to be a few minutes if we're trying to write down and restarting our phone. So keep that in mind. It's all right. We will be able to collect the data efficiently. And then if webcam changes to view another bear, so we are focusing on one particular bear. If the webcam goes to, let's say, the large male, which is Kaluk. Kaluk, I think is how you say his name. He's a very large bear, and we might go to his sibling and go to Tatkik, say her name right. That's okay. We're just going to continue on with our observation. So don't worry about it being different bears. It's okay. All right, so we're going to go through our webcam and make an observation. So let's go ahead and go over there. We're going to go to the polar bear webcam, and I'm going to refresh mine. Looks like he is out of view. So I might just wait. Looks like a crow is getting into one of his enrichment containers. So these are always placed. These are placed throughout the exhibit and the little opportunities to collect food. So looks like we'll have to come back. So if this does happen and you're time constraint, remember you want to be about 9 a.m. If at all possible. I did a little search and just found some other looks like we're going to get into view on a bear here. There we go. So we get constrained and we're pressed for time. We need to do it. There's other polar bear webcams, and I actually went to this one in the Netherlands, and this polar bear has cubs, which is absolutely adorable. So that's another option if you can't. The polar bear at San Diego Zoo is maybe sleeping somewhere that an off exhibit. All right, so here we are in our polar bear. It looks like it's an enrichment activity. So they often use ice for enrichment, and they'll put fish, herring, or anchovies in the block of ice, and then the polar bear needs to work on getting that fish, getting access to that fish. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to start at 30 seconds. So I'm going to start my timer. And I'm going to be watching and I'm going to be looking at my Ethogram and trying to determine what behavior he's doing. So right now, it looks like he's actively, not really actively inquiring, ingesting food, but I would say exploring, investigating the environment, can be standing or in motion. Yeah, that's what I'd say he's doing. So I got a little bit more time to determine. All right, and there's my alarm. And I'm going to go ahead and mark that she is exploring. I'm going to go the next 30 seconds and I'll look up. I'm going to watch and see what my polar bear is doing. And I'm going to do this 30 times, which seems like a lot, but it's only 15 minutes. And we will we'll do this every 30 seconds. So like I said, 9 a.m. is a really good time to be watching the polar bears. At around 8 o'clock, they're getting their enclosure cleaned and new enrichment is being put out into their main enclosure. So about 9 o'clock, they're released back into their enclosure and they're okay to explore everything and get a hold of their enrichment. All right, well, I'm going to stop right here. I think you're getting the idea. And we're going to move into the Ethogram or the data study here. So if I've checked off explore and I've done my observation, I get down towards the bottom here, I've put in some numbers just for the sake of showing you how to do a pie chart. So here's the totals for the entire column. So what I want to do is determine the relative frequency of the percentage. So you can read the directions down here of what is the frequency and how to determine that. So I have 5 here for pace, 10 for rest, 2 for processing food, 5 for explore, another 5. Actually, yeah, I'll leave that. For social and play is 2, and 1 is other. Now you might have not quite the varied behavior. You might have primarily explore and resting. Whatever it might be, that's okay. That's your data. And then we're going to determine percentages. So in what I did here using an Excel, using the Google Sheets, was I created a formula, and you can see that up here. So what I did, I'll do it again. I'll delete this. And I'm going to go ahead and put an equal sign. And I'm going to take the total amount of behaviors by that polar bear, and I'm going to divide it by my total number of observations. And I did a total of 30 observations. And because I'm already established the cell to be a percent, I'm not going to multiply it by 100, although that is ultimately what I am doing to get the percentage. So I click that, and that's how I get 16.7%. Now remember, you can move the decimals over however big a percentage you'd like. I like the decimal point just to be a little bit more precise with what we're doing here. All right, so part of the activity is creating a pie chart. So I'm going to go into adding insert chart, or I can go over here to insert and add a chart. Either way works. And I'm over here. I should probably put myself up in this corner. And I want to do a pie chart. So I'm going to scroll down, clicking on chart types. Like pie chart, oh, looks crazy. I'm going to change the data range. So my data range here is C50. And I'm going to go to I50. So that's my row is row 50 of the percentage, and then my columns are C through I. And I should get what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click on these ones here. And there's my percentages. So there's plenty more you can do with this. You can get very elaborate, but I'm going to leave it just the way it is. Now remember, if I get kind of lost, say I click out and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. I go and click on the chart, and here is my edit. And I can copy the chart. So I'm going to copy the chart actually, because I'm going to put that into my document. I'd like to move this chart over here. I like to keep it here because it's a part of my data. So because my handout says to insert the pie chart, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Control V. I'm going to paste it unlinked because I just want the pie chart in there. And there it is. Right. And then if I would like, which I need to attach my data sheet. I'm going to go here and I'm going to share, and I'm going to change this. I'm working in an account right now with Miami University, and I'm going to change it so anyone with the link can see it. So I don't have to be a particular G Suite. So I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to go done and go back over to my chart and attach my data sheet here. I'm going to go Control V, and there I am. I could also, if I want to, I could reverse back out of that, and I can go ahead and do a link there and Control V, so it looks a little bit cleaner. Well, not that clean, but anyways, you can do either way. It's fine. All right, so you've done your study. We've viewed our polar bears. Remember, try to stay focused on one particular polar bear. There are 3 on exhibit here, but focus on one. There was one, there's one that has a black dot on his tuchus, and they're doing a study on looking at his hair follicles. So you might see that. Don't be alarmed. It's a study that the zoo is working on. All right. So you're going to answer the questions, and then at the bottom, after you've answered those questions, we're going to take a pledge. So what are some ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint? And I know you can come up with many. You can do a Google search. I know for me, one of the things that I'm doing right now, been consistently trying to make sure I do, is whenever I do my laundry, I always put it on cold. So there's a lot of household things we can do. It's really simple for me just to do laundry in cold. There's nothing wrong with that. My clothes are clean. They're perfect. That we do not need warm water to clean our clothes. Okay, so that's something I'm working on, and that would be my pledge. And I think it's really important that everyone participates, everyone tries to do one thing and master that, that their pledge or their reduction of CO2, and then we can add another one and another one, and then we're making significant progress, and hopefully share that with others, and they'll do the same. Okay, if you want to learn more, there's other videos here. There's one from Churchill, Manitoba, Canada, which makes me pretty happy to see. San Diego Zoo Global is working with a group out in Churchill, Manitoba, and that is actually where my family's from. They're actually from Manitoba. They're from Winnipeg. And I have some cousins that worked up there and taught up in Churchill, which is on the Hudson Bay. So that's a pretty cool little place. So check that out. And then also looking at some of the polar bears and enrichment at the zoo. So there's a lot of great things. And again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the activity. Remember, do what you can. Everyone can make a difference. All right, bye.